I don't know. I think I am. I'm live here. Yes, perfect. We are having all kinds of issues. So I am going to just get on and get started, and hopefully things will settle down. Get my piece of watercolor paper ready. So if you've been waiting for me, I am so sorry. So sorry. Oh my goodness. So I got my pattern ready. It took me a little longer than usual. And then I went to print my pattern and I can't print it. My printer is being obnoxious right now. And my computer, they're not happy together right now. So I'm not sure what's going on, but I thought what I'll do is I'll just work on some other things. I still need to glue some of this on, like these onto my wood pieces. And we'll do that while we're waiting for the printer to be happy. It's not happy right now. So let me look again, just one more look-see. Maybe it will print out for me. I just need the line drawing. That's all. I just need the line drawing. Oh, it's ready. Okay. I'm going to try it now. Let's see if it works. Okay, in the meantime, let's glue one of our ornaments together. How are you guys? I'm so sorry. Part of me was like, should I just cancel? Then I was like, no, I'll just do it a little later. We'll try to get it done. But yeah, it's just been one of those days. Some hiccups. Okay, I printed something out. Could you go see if it's in the printer? Okay, so this I need to use my knife to cut it. I'm just going to do it on my, I have some paper towels right here, and I'm just going to do that. So you need an X-Acto knife. Be very careful with your fingers. Thank you, sweetie. I finally got it. Yay. Today we're doing the mittens, but I want to glue this on first. So just take your X-Acto knife. If I get this right here. Okay. Take your X-Acto knife and just cut this little rectangle out, okay? Be very careful with your fingers. If you get that cut out beforehand, it really makes a big difference for the later stages. Okay, so it works. All right, then you're going to want to match it up with your hole, okay? So I'm going to bring this up so you can see the whole thing here. Okay. So I'm using PVA glue. Hi, Margot. Yes, I'm here. I feel like crying. Hello, Verdi from Oregon. And hi, Jackie from Georgia. And Vera and Carol Lee. And all of my friends out there. Thank you for being here. And I'm so sorry you had to wait for me. We've had a full day. It's been a full day. And I promised my niece that I would help her with her painting that she's doing. So she's having to wait for me too. I really want to help her with that. She's doing these cute paintings of her family members. and she needs a little help with highlighting. And so I was like, I can teach you something. You're going to just be so happy you learned this. So you want to put a little dollop on your ornament. And I have demoed this earlier in one of the other videos, but I think it's always worth doing again because not everyone's going to watch every video, right? So I feel like I need a little more glue right up there. So I'm going to just put another little dollop on. It's kind of like something you have to do when you're gluing, you have to kind of do it and try it out to get the feel for how much glue you need. You don't want it like so much glue that it's like oozing out all the edges and you just got a big mess kind of thing. You don't want it that way, but you want it enough that it will take hold onto your paper. And I'm just using a little squeegee to get it to the edges. I always start out in the middle and then move the glue around to the edges. You want to make sure you get it on all the edges. And I'm done it as even as I can. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. That's good enough. Okay. And then you want to line up your hole that you've already cut out with the hole on the top of the ornament. And that will kind of give you a feel for where everything needs to be. You also want to bend the edges out. Notice how I kind of cut it so there's a little bit of a give as far as my edges. I got a little more room there. So you kind of want to bend your watercolor paper, and if you're not quite on there right, you can adjust it. So bending the watercolor paper tells you where the edge of the ornament is, and I can tell I need to scoot this way a little more. So I'm going to scoot it that way so I get it right on the edge that I need it to be. If the hole doesn't quite match up, that's okay. You just get it on there so that all the edges kind of line up. And you do have a few minutes while you're trying to, get it adjusted. You have a few minutes. Your glue's not going to dry so fast that you can't adjust it. So you have some time to adjust it. So I'm looking, it looks like I need to go up a little higher. See, my hole's not totally matching up, but it's going to be okay. Okay, I'm pretty confident with the position it's at. And so now I can like really lay my hands down on it. Another thing you can do, just in case you get glue on your fingers, you want to put like a piece of plastic down just to keep that from, and I'm going to grab this because I have a piece of plastic right near me. Hold on for a second. Okay, so I'm just going to use that so I can put my whole hand on it, not worry about like lotion and all that stuff on my piece. And this way you can also kind of like just really get it down good. Okay, and then it's going to take a few minutes. I was just doing this with my whimsies earlier. We were working on one of our projects in our whimsy group, and I was just gluing something there too. So any of you that are whimsies, you're getting another lesson on how to do this. So now there's a point where it will start to take hold, and you'll notice that you can't move it anymore. So you want to get it to that point. You don't want to do anything else with this piece until you get it to that point and you know that your watercolor paper is positioned exactly where you want it. Because if you try to, put weight or pressure on it while it's still moving, then it will shift. And then by the time it's dry, it will be too late to do any moving. And it might have shifted in the wrong direction. I've had that happen. Everything I'm telling you, I learned from experience. You have to be patient with this process. Get it to the point where it's not going to shift anymore. So I'm just going to look at it and see where I'm at. And you can kind of tell, try to move it with your fingers if it's going to shift anymore. You can tell. Okay. And make sure all the edges are good. Then what you want to do is just turn it over and put it on your piece of plastic and put something heavy on it. Like I've got this heavy little pot I can put on it, or like some books or something. Just make sure that it's not shifting so that when you get it the next day, you usually want to wait like overnight or something. That's what I usually do. But if you don't have time to wait overnight, you can just give it like maybe 3 hours so it cures nicely. And then, and once those 3 hours are done, then you can easily take off the sides of the paper, the lip of the paper that's overhanging the ornament. You can take that off once the glue is nice and dry. If you try to sand it before the glue is dry, then you're going to rip and tear at your paper because your paper is going to still be tender from being wet from the glue. So just a little tip there, make sure everything's nice and dry. I'm going to set this aside and get out this day's project. You guys, thank you for hanging out and waiting for me. I appreciate that. I'm glad you guys are all chatting. I'm so happy. That makes me, my husband was like, they're all chatting on there. We don't know that much about YouTube yet, but it sounds like you can just get on and start chatting. And I was loving that. So I'm glad that you are able to do that. All right. So today is Mittens, and I will tell you how to pronounce that in a bit. But these are kind of fun, cute little mittens, and it actually is kind of a fun project for today where I'm feeling a little stressed from everything. This will be a fun one. Tomorrow is a little more involved. It's a Santa, and he has lots of detail on him. If you are looking for this e-pattern, I just uploaded it. It's on the website now. So you can find it on the website. Okay, here's my watercolor paper. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just back up the truck a little bit and tell you who I am. So any of you that are new to our channel, I'm Erica Joanne from Erica Joanne Art, and we have been working on a little ornament every day, and we're doing a 10-day stint, and it's all Nordic theme. So just having a lot of fun with that, with the colors that they use and the patterns and the style they use. I'm doing a little bit of my own thing, but still enjoying kind of the inspiration of the Nordic theme. So I'll show you what we've done so far. We are on day 7 today. And so far we have done our penguin, and then a Christmas tree. I think, gosh, I keep thinking, is this my favorite? I don't know. I really like this one. This was a fun one. We did a snowman. He's cute too. And we've done a stocking. This one needs to still be glued. And then, of course, the reindeer. We did the reindeer. This is being glued right now to the wood. We worked on watercolor paper. We're gluing it to a wood ornament. And then here's yesterday's class that we worked on. So all really fun. There's 6 designs that we've already finished, and we're on to our 7th. It has been super satisfying to be able to enjoy this playtime with you guys. I'm just loving it. Okay, you want a piece of painter's tape to just glue your design down. I'm going to kind of pull this up even farther so you guys can see. And you want to glue, or not glue, you want to find the front of your watercolor paper, and I use, it's kind of a soft texture. I use the cold press 140 weight watercolor paper. There is a front and a back side to it, so you want to make sure it's the softer texture side that you want to put down. And then put your graphite paper. This is gray graphite paper, and this is actually graphite paper that has no wax in it. It's wax free. And guess what? We are going to be offering this on our website. It's going to be a brand new item on our website where you get 2 sheets of this watercolor, of this graphite paper, and it's wax free. So this stuff is pretty cool. I love it, and it's worked so good for what I do on watercolor paper. Okay, so you want a sharp pencil or a sharp stylus to transfer your pattern. You're just basically putting pressure down, and it will transfer the graphite onto your watercolor paper so you have a pattern. And that's the beauty of this whole, what we do. Some people say, I can't do art, I can't do art. Actually, you can. This is art, and it's instructional art, and we walk you through it step by step. It's so awesome. When I started doing my own decorative painting, gosh, years and years ago, I just feel like I ran into a gold mine. I totally loved every stinking part of it, every corner, every little nook and cranny of decorative painting that I could explore. I loved it so much. And it's because it is instructional art. There are many different artists and many different styles, but they give you your pattern. They give you your pattern and instructions. It's just like when you think of doing a crochet or a knitting pattern. This is similar, but it's just paint. Now I've taken a little further where I do paint and pencil together, so I get the best of both worlds. So it's a mixed media thing that I do. But we have so much fun doing it, and I invite you to join us. So start with what you have and then work up from there. I always tell people, find, if you have paint at home already, use that. Use the brushes you have until you can afford to buy more. And as you learn more about this craft, then you can build your supply. And before you know it, you'll have so much stuff. Right, girls? You'll have rooms and rooms of stuff. Yep. So I'm just transferring with my pencil. And for any of you that are wondering, again, you can get this pattern on my website at ericajoanne.com, ErikaJoanne.com. If you go to the homepage, it has links to take you where the supplies are if you want to get supplies, or if you just want the e-pattern, there's links to the e-pattern too. I also sent an email out to all my email subscribers with a link to the new pattern. Each e-pattern has 2 different designs. And we are just having so much fun. It's been really good for me. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting in the Christmas spirit more. Except for today was a difficult one when my printer wouldn't cooperate and everything was going slower than I wanted it to. I'm just putting little, like little ticky marks for these dots, little ticky marks. Okay. Little ticky marks for more dots here. Okay, I can lift up and see where I'm at. And it is going on there fine. So I'm happy with it. The downloads for the two newest patterns aren't there yet, Carol says. I just sold some, so they've got to be there. Maybe refresh your screen on your computer. So let me check just real quick. Okay. Yeah, people are buying them. So, oh, I'm glad I'm here, Lisa, too. I just had to come in a little later than I wanted to. I wanted to be here at 3. It ended up a lot later. So, let's see. Go to shop on my webpage and then go to Erica's class supplies and then go down to the Nordic Votter e-pattern. Also, if you're looking at the digital patterns, it ended up on page 2 of the digital patterns. So you have to go down to the bottom of the page and then click over to page 2. So that might be where you're looking, Carol, and you're not Carolee, and you're not finding them because that's, yeah, you have to go to page 2. I have too many e-patterns on there, and I couldn't put it up at the top like I wanted it to be. Okay, keep transferring. Got these cute little squares. Little ticky marks for the dots. Did you find it, Carolee? Okay. And then these little stitches. Okay, I got one mitten on. Well, hi, Cindy from the Chicago Burbs. Okay, Carolee. I'm sorry. It is there, but it's just, on the digital page, it's on the second page. Or you can go to Erica's class supplies and it's there. Got little buttons here. If you wanted, some of you I know have little buttons in your stash. You could put a real button there to add a little more mixed media. Okay. A little more here. So after we get these two designs done, we only have 2 more left. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it's going to be over next week. And then Christmas will be upon us. I got to go to Costco tomorrow morning and get stuff for dinner on Sunday. We're going to have my family over. I think I talked to you guys about we're doing Christmas caroling and a dinner together. So I got to go out into the madhouse of Costco. Hi, Cheryl. Gosh, I'm glad you guys are here. All my friends. Hello, Paint and Folk Art. You're from Windy, Vermont. Vera in Ohio. Oh, Carol Lee, the VIP site. Okay, sorry. I just saw that. I put part of it up, but I'm going to go and do that in just a second. And sorry, I didn't know what you were talking about. So if you are VIP, you get this e-pattern free, and I'm sorry, I just didn't put it up there. Thank you so much for that reminder, Carolee. I just read your comment. Okay, and just one more thing here. Oh, I also have to do the circle around. Don't forget that. That's an important thing to do. And this little rectangle here, you want to get that on also. Okay. And then finish it off here like so. All right. I'm going to go add that to the VIP site right now on Facebook for you VIPers who are waiting for this. All Okay, I just posted it. All right. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. It's up there now. You can find it on the Facebook page. All right. And I'll also put it up on the VIP webpage too. So I did like 3 different versions of these mittens and had my husband vote, and he voted for the blue mittens. So we're doing the blue mittens. Okay, we're going to start out with Colony Blue, since that's probably our biggest, most prominent color. And I'm going to put just a little dollop on my palette. You're going to water this down really well. Remember to have your testing strip nearby. Okay. And then you want a nice round brush. Number 3, you're going to take the color away from the puddle and create a new puddle, and then put a good amount of water in that so it's an inky consistency or a milky consistency. Okay, so it lightens down. We're going to want a lighter blue. And I'm going to test this on my watercolor paper test strip first to just make sure I got the right color. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so this lighter blue color is going to be this bottom area. Go around everything. You can go ahead and, go over these smaller lines, but avoid the little blocks or the little squares. So we're going to work around the little squares. The e-pattern is up on the VIP webpage also, so you can find it there too. Okay, you're going to work on the bottom section of the mitten. And you can go in between the little squares. Okay. Like so. And I have a little texture on mine. That's okay. It's like watercolor. That's what it turns out with watercolor. You're going to get a little bit of kind of variegation going on. You're going to take the same blue and work on this section of the thumb right there. You want your blue to be translucent. I have a little bit much of my moisture on my brush. I probably should just take a little bit of that off on a paper towel. So I'm going to sop some of that up. That's another way to lighten your color, is just kind of sopping up some of the moisture. But I love that. I think that looks fantastic. Okay. Now we're going to work on the other mitten. It's the same, we're just doing the same exact design. Oops. On the other mitten. This will be a fun, easy day because it is a repeat of the design. When I was young and I learned to sew, I always thought there's got to be shortcuts here. So I would try to do these shortcuts. But then my sewing didn't look so good. My projects that I worked on, or my clothes that I worked on, I sewed a lot of my own clothes. They didn't look so good. I learned a lot in those days of being creative. I thought, well, I'll just be creative, yeah, and not really follow the pattern. And yeah, it didn't always turn out the way I wanted it to. So I learned that you don't want to always take shortcuts. It's best to follow the pattern in some ways. It's best to follow the pattern, because I would just get like impatient and just want to be quick about something, and then my projects would turn out so bad. Okay, I just took a little extra moisture off. All right. You're going to go see Christmas lights, Cheryl? How fun is that? Oh, yeah. I'm going to bring it down closer so I can see it like that. Okay. All right. Okay, that's it for the blue. but it's so pretty. I love it. I just want to admire it. It's been so cool. Okay, now we want our red. Let's do our red next. And you'll want your naphtha crimson. Just bring this over here so you can see. A little bit there. And a little bit of your Turner's yellow. This is all listed in the e-pattern, what colors I'm using. I'm putting a little bit over there because I'm going to use Turner's yellow separately later. So okay. So we're going to mix a little bit of our naphtha crimson with some of our Turner's yellow. It's a 2-to-1, so 2 parts Turner's yellow, 1 part naphtha crimson, and we've done this every day. So you're creating kind of a watermelon looking color. It's a soft red. Once you get the paint on your brush, I want to show you this. So it's, really watered down a lot. You got some paint on your brush. Once you get that on and you go to your piece, it's going to be really liquidy. And you can see right there, it's really liquidy. One thing you can do is you can just pat it on a paper towel and take a little bit of the moisture out. Okay. So let's wait to do our red squares here until it's all nice and dry. We'll move up to this section and we're just going to cover this middle section with the red. Work around these little dots. We're going to be leaving those white. And then fill in this whole section. Yeah, I made myself all kinds of crazy clothes when I was younger. I was like an 80s girl. So I even had a good friend who got pregnant and decided to get married. And so she needed a wedding dress, but didn't have any money. So we went to the thrift shop and found a wedding dress. And she was a short gal. So we were able to take some of the material off the bottom of the dress. And we made these big puffy sleeves. Remember those big puffy sleeves from the 80s? The wedding dresses? Yeah, I did that for her. It was pretty funny. But we were creative. Yep. Made it work out. Okay, just make sure everything is nice and dry here before you put your red down into the squares. You don't want it to bleed into the blue. And there's 2 red squares on each mitten. Okay. I'm going to make my red a little more red because I feel like it's too muted. So I added a little more naphtha to my red. That's a little better. I'll show you with it not being so in the light there. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of that over here. Just going to make it a little more red. My nerves have calmed down already. Yay! Doing a little painting really helps with that. You know how we have anxiety so much in our society? Art is really good for that. Really, really good. You can just slow down and do some art. Okay. All right, that's better. Now we'll take our Turner's yellow and we're going to water that down just a little bit. We don't have to get the milky consistency with this. We don't need to water it down as much. And we're going to do the bottom square with that yellow. On both mittens. Okay. And then our button. Or if you feel like later you want to put a real button on there, you can. That would be really cute. Okay. All right. That's where we're at so far. So Valerie, she was wondering why I mute down the red with Turner's yellow. I like kind of a softer red. And I'll show you what naphtha crimson looks like. When it's not muted down, it's pretty red. It's very red. So I'll show you. I don't know if you can tell. It doesn't look as bright on the screen, but it's very bright. It's like a fire engine red. It's pretty bright. So I'd like to mute it down. And Turner's yellow is great because we use it anyway, so we might as well mix it with the naphtha. And naphtha crimson is a really great color too, so it's nice to have the option. Okay, our next color. Oh, we're going to do some yellow there, and I went over that with my blue, so I'm just going to have to kind of base coat that with my yellow. Little dot in the middle. Cordy says it's what keeps her sane. Yes, painting does help us, doesn't it? Just kind of gives us something to look forward to, something to jump out of the bed for in the morning. Awesome. Okay, the next color is brown. We're going to make a tan out of it. So I'm going to mix that with 1-to-1 white, warm white, and brown earth. Those two colors, 1-to-1. So put them both on your palette paper. And let's see, we're going to take a little bit of each. So 1 part warm white and 1 part brown earth. Get a lot on my brush there. Now I'm going to mix those together. You're going to get kind of a tan, and then we're going to water that down. So go ahead and water it down. So it's very liquidy. Liquid color. That is our tan that we're going to use. You can start out on the thumb here. I went a little bit out of the lines with it. And I'm going to lighten my color up just a tad. See if I can't get some of that off. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, I'm going to add a little more water to mine just to dilute the color a little bit more. And then we want some on our square. Okay. And then you can go ahead and color in all of this ribbing, or the ribbing right on top of the mitten. You can color in all of that. And we'll go in and make the stripes, every other stripe darker later. Work around the little dots here. Those are going to stay white. Okay, I have a question for you guys. Any of you, and we were talking, I don't know who it was. It might have been Cordy. Was it you? We were talking about the different types of Christmas trees the other day, and someone said that they still had one of those silver trees from the 50s with the light that, was it the 50s or the 60s? With the light that shone onto the tree. Does anyone else have a tree like that from that vintage era? I think it was a fascinating time. It must have been the thing, like how we are when we're like, oh, we got to go get one of those trees with the lights built in to the tree. It must have been kind of like that, like everyone wanted one. I'm just curious, did everyone want one of those, or were there some people that are like, no, that is just not right? A silver tree. It really was kind of a play on the silver tinsel, right? We had done silver tinsel a lot, so maybe it was just kind of the next idea. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. Yeah, so I think I got everything where it's supposed to be. Okay, we'll play another game, this or that. How about that? Oh, Cordy says, it wasn't me, but we had one, a little one, in 1969, the year our oldest son was born. Really? That's so cool, Cordy. That's so cool. Carol said that they had one, but it is long gone. We couldn't afford the color wheel. Ah. And then Marilyn says the aluminum tree was very modern, but not everybody wanted one. Okay. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think I was probably like 2 or 3 at the time, when that came out. And a comment says, we grew up with one as kids. We thought it was so cool, the color we'll use to get hot. Probably like overheated, huh? Huh. It's very modern when you think about it. Who would think of putting a silver tree in their house just off the cuff? Yeah, I was just wondering if everyone was running down to get one. And was it how did the people that sold real trees feel? They're probably like, wait a second. Do we need to start selling aluminum trees? Okay, so if you're doing your nails during the holidays, what do you like? More like a bright red for the holiday? Or do you like yours to have like little Christmas trees and little or ornaments on your nails? Do you like to do that kind of stuff? Or do you like more just um, just a regular color? Do you like to go Christmassy and all out, crazy with all kinds of stuff and Christmas trees and stuff on your nails? Or do you like to just do like bright red? Or you just like more just normal color? I'm curious. Curious minds want to know. I actually would love to do little doodads on my nails. I think that'd be fun, like little snowmen on your nails. Wouldn't that be cute? I just don't know if I could handle the long nails. I do like the short nails because I'm always, doing stuff with my fingers and my hands. I have long nails. Like my short nails, I don't think I could fit a snowman on there. Gloria says more traditional, like a pale red or light green. And Carol Lee says sparkle red with right stripe on one finger at each hand. That's cute. I like that. Like you do candy cane stripes. I love that. And then Cordy says clear nail polish. Yeah, just curious. I did kind of like my sparkly nails, but I need to do them over again. It's time to do my nails again. Okay, I think we're dry, ready to move forward. All right, let's get our colors out. Now we have 4 different colors. We have olive green, light umber, goldenrod, and I think it was poppy red. I have stuff all over my studio. I'm trying to find my instructions here. And it's poppy red, yes. Those 4 colors. So that's our palette for all of these different projects. These 4 colors. We'll start out with the yellow. Make sure it's nice and dry. And we'll do some shading at the bottom of we didn't do our brown, you guys. I forgot. We need to do a darker brown. So, sorry, back to your paint. Boy, I'm scatterbrained today. Okay, so darker brown. Let's water that down really good. And we need some darker brown stripes. So I'm going to start here and add a stripe here. So you're just kind of going back over and repeating every other stripe. I got caught up in the nails, the nail discussion. Sparkle red would be fun too. I wouldn't mind that. Okay. And this side, you work right on that first stripe coming around. And Carol says, just Christmas red and glitter, of course. Yes. Hi, Brenda. So you're getting food together for your painting club in the morning. That's awesome. I'm sure they'll be so happy with that. We are going to do ham when everyone comes over to do Christmas caroling. And what we call is funeral potatoes. I hate to call them that, but that's what the name is. But they're usually served at funerals because they're so satisfying and just a wonderful, delightful dish. But they're so good. It's basically hash browns with lots of cheese and sour cream and all the goodness. Okay, once you get that on, that's good. We will move on with the color pencils now. Sorry about that, you guys. We'll let that dry. And we were working with the yellow, so maybe we could just start in at this point here, down at the bottom. I'm just going to put a nice line there and shade away from that line into my square. It's going to be darkest at the bottom. More pressure there. When I do color pencils, I do them a little differently than some of our fine artists do. I work by pressure, heavy, medium, light pressure. And our fine artists don't work that way. A lot of times they work, well, sometimes they'll do burnishing, which is pressure, but a lot of times they'll just do layers and build up their layers that way. So they'll do very light pressure and just continue to build up layers. So my penciling, just FYI, is a little different than theirs. And both is great. I mean, both of those different techniques are great, but they just have different, it's a different application, different way to color. All right, so we wanted to go ahead and put some shading down at the bottom of each of the buttons and the bottom of each of these squares. So Carolee says, for my son's wedding a couple of weeks ago, I did silver sparkles. My shoes and jewelry were silver. Fall and Halloween, I do the orange or green sparkles. That's cute. I love it. So Brenda says they're having a Christmas party tomorrow and they're having a Chinese ornament exchange. We limit it to 3 steals per ornament or we would be there all day. Yeah, everyone wants that one ornament, right? And Cindy, I'm just going back in the comments. Cindy says, my tree is decorated in hand painted ornaments. I belong to 2 decorative painting chapters since the 80s, and each year we swap ornaments. I'm so blessed to have ornaments painted by my friends. That's wonderful. It's so cool. Okay, we're done with our yellow. We'll move on to our red, our poppy red. Make sure you have a nice sharp pencil. I love it. Okay, let's do the red squares. Same thing. It's darkest down at the tip of that square, and then bring it up and let it fade. Okay, do that on both mittens. I was like, oh, I'm about ready to have a heart attack. That was just eraser. I thought that I got something on my piece. Okay, just shade right up from the corner. Now with the red area, this red stripe on our mittens, let's start with the mitten in the background and we'll shade on this edge here because we want some contrast between that and the next mitten. So that's my dark value. I'm going to move it over. As I go over, I'm going to use less pressure, little circular motion, continuing across my ornament, or not ornament, across my mitten. So I have the dark pressure here or heavier pressure here. I'm into the medium pressure or medium value, and then over into the light value. I'll let it fade into my background with just a feather touch. Okay, see that? Kind of like an ombre look. Okay, let's do a little bit more shading over in this corner. I'm going to put my dark value there and then let it radiate up like so from that corner. Okay. So it's dark over here and then dark kind of over into this corner. Now, because we have this darkness here, we really don't want to add more in this corner because that's just going to make those two kind of blend into each other, right? So I'm going to be careful about my shading. And instead of going right up against there, I'm going to just work kind of along the bottom a little bit, this bottom corner, and then I'm going to let it fade up from there, just like I did on this side. I'm going to do that here. Let it fade as it moves up into the mitten, like so. Okay, now we can do this full on side or full side of the mitten, the right side of it, and pull it across from there. Okay, let's line along the bottom of that rickrack shape on the bottom of the red. Let's just line along there and a little bit of shading against that. You can do that on the other side too. This will just kind of clean up our rickrack. A little bit of shading coming up from there. Okay, that's good for our red. And we don't need any of our green today, so we're just going to move right into our light umber pencil. Let's start out by shading the bottom of the square or triangle. I guess it's not a triangle, it's a square. Okay, and then we'll do that on both mittens. That's your dark value, that line. Move into your medium value and then light value pretty quickly. All right. Okay, we also have the thumb area of our mittens. Let's line around that and add a little shading at the bottom. And then let's line in our little stitches. So they're just kind of like two little parallel stitches next to each other. Let's put those in. And we'll do that on the other thumb too. A little bit of shading down at the bottom. And then your stitches. Okay, I want to, well, let's move up to this brown area and then we'll go back. There's a lot more shading to do. So I'm going to start out in the dark stripes at the bottom of each of these dark stripes. Just kind of line around the bottom there and then shade up from there. So we're always starting out shading our darkest value first and then moving up from that dark value into a medium value and then your light value. That's really pretty. I like it. Let's do that on the other mitten. And each dark stripe, a little bit of shading down from the bottom, or from the bottom up. Okay, we're going to work on this lighter stripes, but we're not going to put as much shading. We're going to be a little more conservative about it. So just a little bit up from the bottom. You start out kind of like with your medium value first, and then into your light value. Okay, I'll do that on the other side. Just be conservative. You don't need as much shading there. Okay. Right. I'm going to line, let's just start working down now. I'm going to lightly line around the outside edge of the top of this mitten. And I'm going to skip my line along. And let's line around our button. It's good to have a nice solid line around that. And let's shade around the button too. I'm going to just do a little bit of shading coming off of that line around the button. So it looks three-dimensional, like there's some space in between the button and the mitten. Kind of get it to stand out a little bit. Okay, and then let's put our stitch line into our button. Like so. And then we can do the same on the other mitten. Just lightly line around the outside of that mitten. And around your button. Do some shading away from your button. Okay, and then your stitch line. Okay. All right, now we can line around each of these little dots with our light umber pencil. I'm turning my pencil as I go so I can keep it sharp. And then you'll want to do that on the other mitten. There we go. Nice. Thank you, Margot. Thank you. I'm having a lot of fun with this theme. I could just keep going and going. Let's do 11, 12. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Okay, we're going to be working on this mitten here first. So I'm going to put a line right here, and I'm going to shade into that back mitten. So I put another layer of shading right here to help separate those two mittens. Probably should bring that shading up a little bit more, even over, kind of slightly over our dots, it kind of helps separate the two. I'm going to do a little bit up here too. Okay. Okay, so we got some shading down in the red, little repeat going on there. You can bring that across a little even more. Okay. I feel like I went too far in here. It's a good thing colored pencils erase. Okay. All right. Now we'll bring our line down around the thumb. I did some lining there already, but let's do some shading also here because, again, we really want this mitten to be in the foreground instead of the background. And so adding some shading right up against it will help with that. Okay, now I'm going to lightly line around the outside of this mitten in the back. I'm kind of skipping my line along, various pressures. All right, let's also have a good line to define our rickrack, or this area right here, to separate the blue and the red. Put a good line there. And then let's shade down from it into the blue, just slightly. Medium and light value from that line. I'm going to do a medium and light value. Okay. Now I'm going to take this shading and bring it this way. So from the corner, and then let it radiate out into the mitten a little bit more. Like so. Okay. And then how about a little shading on this side of the mitten? The right side, just in this little corner here. Like that. Okay. And we have some of those little stitches down here at the bottom. So you want to put those in. Make sure your pencil's nice and sharp. And then let's put these little stitches in too. They are just like almost like little L's, but they go out kind of like a little Christmas tree. There's one on each side of this block section. And you might have lost vision of the pattern lines there. So you can freehand it or look at your line drawing and go off of that. It's pretty simple. Just remember that they get smaller and smaller as you go out from the first one that you do. Thank you, Brenda. We want to get the word out. I've always felt so strongly since I have been with, I was earlier on a member of the Society of Decorative Painters, and I always felt so strongly that in order for us to really survive and keep this art alive, we have to get the word out. And we were only attracting just certain people, and it was kind of by word of mouth. But now we have the internet. We have, as far as YouTube is concerned, this is an amazing platform. Facebook's amazing platform. So more and more people are becoming more aware of what we do. And I love that. I think it really is all about marketing and trying to show people. If people see it in action, then it's a little easier for people to know what it is. Okay, so I'm going to line around all these little blocks. And I'm putting a good line around these. And then a little line around your circle there. Now these little dots are going to be painted on. They're going to be dotted on with paint. And let's go ahead and put these little X's in. And we have these little kind of like little stitches or little knitted stitches going this way across the mitten. Okay, so there's more that will be done here, but it's going to be done with paint. So this is kind of the ugly stage. We're in the middle of our project. We're going to come back to it and do more. And it's going to be awesome. So we'll move over to this mitten. And let's make sure we have a nice, good line. Let's lightly line around the whole mitten. Skip your line along. And we're going to just repeat what we did on the other mitten. Put these X's in. You can use good pressure when laying this line down. And then these little stitched lines. Turn your pencil as you go. It really does help. And then sharpen it if you need to. Okay. It's not going to be really a dark line there. We are using light umber, which isn't as dark as black. But it gives a nice soft touch to the piece, I think, to go with a lighter color. I do tend to like a lot of contrast, so going lighter is a good thing for me to just practice that because it's a good thing. Okay, I'm putting a nice, good, thick line on this rickrack shape here. And then a line across the mitten. Yes. And yeah. Yeah, I agree. Robin. She says it's too bad it came too late to save the society. I wish we could have saved it. But we are still here, you know. The rest of us are still here, right? So, and some of us still belong to paint groups, which is great. I'm putting lines around my squares here. And a line around the dot in the middle. Okay, I'm going to sharpen. And let's go ahead and put these little Christmas tree shapes by our blocks. Yeah, we haven't gone anywhere. And I do see people still, it's a beautiful thing. You still see people painting in their groups. And like you guys are saying, some of you are having your Christmas parties right now. That's wonderful. Okay. We have these little stitch lines at the bottom. Turn your pencil. Woo! That's always a bummer when I do that, because you do that, it will make it so a mark and you can't get it off with an eraser. We'll have to go over that with our splatter. Okay. Alrighty. I think we're getting closer to the paint part. Oh, I do need more shading though. I do need more shading. Okay, so let's put a little shading in this corner like we did on the other mitten. A little shading here. And how about some down from the stripe on the thumb, and then some down from the red area. So just below the red area, bring some shading down. Okay. And then a little bit more down on this edge. Okay. I see one more spot I want to shade, and that is this corner right here, the red section. A little bit of shading there with our brown. Light umber, I should say. Okay. All right. That is a good effort. Got that done. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is set our pencil work with the fast drying glaze medium. This is Josania's fast drying glaze medium for application of light transparencies of color. Works really good for what we do. I'm going to put some in my dish here. This is a light sealer. You want to use a dry brush. Cordy says her group has celebrated their 30th anniversary. That's wonderful. And Carol Lee said they used to have 3 chapters in Connecticut. Now we have none. Oh, so sad. That is sad. But you can, the beauty of the digital world is you can join any chapter around the nation and get in on their classes that they do online. Thank you, Carolee. She likes the color choice. You can thank my husband because I did 3 different types of mittens, and this is the one he liked. So I said, okay, that's what we're doing. Okay, so just pull the fast drying glaze medium across. Don't overwork it. Don't use any pressure as you're bringing the medium across your piece. This will set your paint and your pencils. It's a light sealer and it works beautifully. Gives us a nice base for putting more paint down and not worrying about what's underneath, like not pulling it up. Color pencil can come up with water even. So having it sealed like this is really a good touch. So we're going to do some white dots. We're going to do some of those. We're going to put some light yellow in that center. We're going to do some black dots. Fun. Okay, got to let it dry. Yes, the younger people. That's why I'm on YouTube. To attract anyone that wants to paint. Oh, Robin, that's so true. She says, I feel like I've met so many new virtual painting friends through the groups on Facebook and YouTube. You know, that is a wonderful thing. Yeah, that deserves lots of hearts. I'll throw some in there too, because it has been such a wonderful thing. You don't have to be lonely. You can have friends. They might not live right next to you, but you can have friends online, and it's so wonderful, so cool. Our great-grandparents must just be like looking down thinking, wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know people in the town next to me. Okay, I'm going to try using my bubble palette today. That's such a great way to add dots. So you just put a little warm white in there. And I like to use a little bit of flow medium to add to my paint. This does not dilute the pigment. You can use water, but the flow medium won't dilute your pigment, which is great. When I'm doing my watercolor washes, I use water. I don't use flow medium with my paint for those because I really want it to look like watercolor, and I like how the color molecules separate. It's all scientific. It's pretty cool. So let's start out just adding dots. Oops, and I'm too wet, so it's starting to kind of blend into so I better take that off. So I gotta make sure it's nice and dry first before I start. Okay, pull that up. We'll wait till it's dry. Not quite dry yet. You'll want your liner brush too, because we're going to do a little lining. I wonder if this is dry enough. Okay, I think so. So I want to put a little line along the top of this area here. We'll do our dots last. I'm using my 5-aught liner brush, and I'm not using very much pressure on the brush. Just barely touching my surface. You can put a little rickrack across there. Let's do the same above this line here. Make sure I got some pigment in there. Okay. Notice how I do just one stroke out, lift up my brush, another stroke, lift, stroke, lift. Okay. I'm going to go back over this line and thicken it a little more. So you can have a nice thick line there. Okay, we'll do that on the other side too. Just make it a little thicker. When I line, I tend to like to put in a thin line first and then go back in and thicken it. Gives me a little more control. Okay. All right, now I think we probably could do our dots. Let's see here. There. So it's a dip and a dot. Dip and a dot. You'll get nice round dots that are the same size if you dip often. Okay. And we'll let it just kind of fade into that background there. Okay, I want to add a little bit of yellow to my white. I'm going to put this aside so I don't smear it. So a little bit of yellow. See if I can do that. I want a light yellow. Okay. And let's go ahead and add, I'm just using my liner brush, add a little highlight at the top of this middle dot here. Just tapping in a little highlight at the top. And let's do that on this area of our square, our yellow square. Little highlight there. And then a little on the top of our button. Work around the stitch. Might have to put a second coat in there. Okay. So this is where my second coat is. I'm just going to add a little more to make that a little more opaque because it was looking transparent. I'll do that on this one too. Okay. I'm going to go back in with my warm white. I have a little bit here. I'd want it more opaque. Okay. And then let's take that same warm white and add a brighter highlight at the top of this yellow. And at the top of the button, just tap in a little bit of a highlight there to brighten it, brighten the area. Okay. All right, the rest is we're going to have some black dots. So the rest is that, the black dots, and then we'll do our splatter. Okay, so, or should we do brown dots? I think I might want to do brown dots because I think the black might be kind of heavy looking. Our design is a little softer. Okay, so I'm dotting. Okay, a little bit of flow medium. My brown. You only need just a drop or two of flow medium. And this will make it so when your dots dry, they aren't like chocolate chips. You know how a chocolate chip has a pointed top? You don't want a pointed dot. And this will help with that. Because this paint is artist quality. It's pretty thick paint. got a lot of pigment in it. Okay. Yeah, the brown dots, they're going to be better. Okay, so I want a small size of our stylus, and I'm just going to do my little dots across the mitten. Lots of dips and dots when you do this. Okay. That looks cool. I like that. And it looks really good with the brown. I like it. Okay, so we'll do the other one like that too. Okay. And then I wanted to put dots, just little cascading dots in the middle here. So bigger, medium, small. Big, medium, small. So don't redot or redip. Big, medium, small. Just let them cascade from large to small. Okay. I'm considering putting dots in the middle of the squares, but I'm also considering just lining it with my pencil. I'm thinking this way. Yeah. To break it up a little bit. Yeah, I like that. That helps. Be careful not to smear your dots. Sorry I didn't get this in earlier. You'll have to press a little bit to get it over that red, especially. Ooh. Okay, that's better. Just adds a little decoration. Okay, a few more little dots. I'm thinking right here. Okay. One more space that I want dots on with the dark dots is right across the thumb. And there's a few right here. Okay, is that enough? I think so. All right. I think we'll end with the splatter and our snow, and that will really add to it. But we got to let everything dry. We can't move forward until it's nice and dry. So we'll chat. How about that? So the brush I was using, Carolee, was a 5/0 line brusher. Oh, gosh, I can't even talk. 5/0 liner brush. Mm-mm. Or maybe it was a 10/0. You can use a 5/0 for it. It will work for with a 5/0. Yes, the white helps a lot, doesn't it? I think so. So Brenda says her local club started in 1983, and I'm the only original member still there. Oh, Brenda. Our numbers are low, but we are still there. It's hard to get younger members. Right. Yeah. The younger members, the younger gals, they are so busy with their either their families or their career or college or whatever it is that's going on in their life. And it's hard for them to commit with all the time and energy that we put into our painting. But um, they will do things because they like to be creative, right? So they will participate and do things. They just can't be as committed as some of us that have more time on our hands. And so um, we just have to kind of change our mindset that way. Like, think about how we can bring them in by smaller projects or not so much. The online classes are great because they don't have to go anywhere, they can be at home. So just making it so their time commitment is a little easier on them, I think helps. There's one thing I'm looking at this that I kind of want to do. Let me just try it. Let's see what you guys think. So, what if I took some of my colony blue and mixed it with white and made a really light blue and took my liner brush and just did a little bit of highlighting in the center area between these lines to give them a little more oomph. I added some colony blue to it, but you can hardly tell. They're almost white. I think that does help a little bit. In between. Nice thin line. You could probably do that with warm white. I don't know that it matters to put the colony blue in your white. I think you almost just could do it with white. So I'm going to try it with white. Warm white. Do this while your dots are drying. Make sure not smear your dots. It's so easy to do, so be careful. Yeah, you don't need to mix the blue with it. The white is good enough. It goes on thin anyway, so. So yeah, like a Saturday session in your group where you invite the young people to come and do a 3-hour project and then provide the supplies for them. Make it a bundle price. That's the other thing. If they have to buy a bunch of stuff, they are not attracted to it. So make a bundle price with your class, the surface, and the supplies. Like maybe have some loaner brushes or, if you're a paint and penciler, you could have some pencils that are loaner pencils. Have it all there for them. Like a 3-hour, 4-hour class, not a huge time commitment. They might be interested. Okay. I think that added a little more to it. What do you think? I like that. A little extra design flair. Okay. We'll let that dry. I'm going to put this down by my heater so I can get those dots to dry. It is an expensive hobby if you dive in, Carolee. Yeah, it is expensive. Okay. All right. I think I'm good. Make sure I'm good. All right. Let's go ahead and splatter. This is the fun part because we're almost done. Yeah, that's the only way, to kind of get them involved is to go simpler, try to do the bundling, try to make it less time consuming, small little projects, get them started. And then if they really like it, they'll come back and they'll want to do more. And then they can build up their supplies, from there. But creativity and art, that's not going to go away. People love art. They still love art. But we just have to do it. We have to present it in a different way. Okay, I've added warm white to my splatter brush. And I'm going to splatter. There's a little bit of water in this too. I'm going to splatter about 6 inches. I'm going to go really slow, pulling up on the bristles. Oops, look what I did. Pulling up on the bristles. Okay. I'm going to take this off. Good thing I have my fast drying glaze medium on there. Okay. We'll try this again. Just slowly pull up on your bristles. If you have too much water in your brush, you could do what I just did and have a big glob of paint. So be careful. You can always tap your brush onto a paper towel to take out the extra moisture. Okay. Okay, we're going to go back in and add some chunky snow. Just find some dots that are already there and make them bigger. I'm going to dot over that, my little goof. This is my snow. My big snowflakes. So if I was Christmas caroling to you, what songs would you want us to sing? What are your favorite songs? I mean, Jingle Bells is a given, right? We got to do Jingle Bells because everyone can join in on that. But what other songs do you like? Lots of snowflakes. I like to do little clusters of snowflakes. Silent Night, that's a great one too, because people know that one too. Ooh, Little Drummer Boy and Away in the Manger. I love all of them. So I'm trying to think, how does the Little Drummer Boy go again? Thinking about it. Trying to sing it in my head. I'm thinking of Do You Hear What I Hear? But that's not the Little Drummer Boy, right? So I like that song. Okay. I think I'm almost there. Maybe a few more. I like the little clusters. Okay. That's good enough, I think. Maybe one right here. Here, I could just keep going and going. And then pretty soon it would just all be snowflakes. I don't want to do that. So I got to stop. Oh, that was fun. That's a cute little addition to our various Nordic ornaments. Let me see if it matches. Does it match? Kind of matches what we've been doing. That looks cute together. Yeah, like it. Now, I think it would be fun to put glitter on this rickrack, on that rickrack there. I think that would be in this one too here. A little bit of glitter. Should I do it? Maybe I'll do it for you guys and then we'll be done for tonight. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yes. The 12 Days of Christmas and God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. Hark the Herald Angel sings, holly jolly Christmas. I better not sing. Kathy was warning me like earlier, they'll just take it off because of copyright. No singing. Okay, I think I'm ready. I can do some glitter. I'm not done yet. Okay, so for glitter, you need the all-purpose sealer as your glue. And you don't have to put glitter on yours if you don't want it. It's just if you want it. Okay, so this is your glue. So you put it on fairly thick. We're just going to put it over the rickrack area. So I'm following that rickrack with the sealer. Now you can do this after you get everything glued. Especially if you're going to make this an ornament, this is a good thing to do after you get everything glued. And I'm just doing it right now for demonstration purposes. But if I were to do this normally, I would glue my piece to my ornament, do my sanding, the edge sander, then paint the back of the ornament. Okay, that's good enough. I hope I have my glitter up here. Oh, well, I have blue, but I don't want blue. I want opal. So I might have to go to the other room to get it. Oh, there it is. I found it. Yay. Oh, okay. So just go ahead and shake, 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 shake your glitter. Shake your glitter. Put that on there. And you can do this with any of your ornaments. You can decide where you want some sparkle. And then you can also put on your rhinestones. That's always a nice touch. Shake it off. And then you've got some glitter. Oh, that adds a lot. I like that a lot. Just a little bit of glitter across those mittens makes a big difference. I love it. Okay, look how much fun you can have. All right, well, I probably better go. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I will be on at 3, not 4:30, 4:45, 5. I'll be on tomorrow at the right time. Thanks again for all your support and love, and it's so nice to be creative with you. Appreciate it. Toodaloo. See you tomorrow.